Hi there, welcome to my Python tutorial series, and in this video we're gonna take a look how to build your own Telegram bot utilizing aiogram library and Telegram API. We're gonna use the third latest version of Telegram API and an aiogram library. So I already have some notes how to properly organize our project and how to properly implement our first handlers that will process the request from Telegram API. So alright. First of all, we have to create our Telegram bot inside the Telegram ecosystem. To do this, you just need to find this bot father, and here you can find it by this link. And here you just need to create a new bot instance. This bot instance is living inside the Telegram API ecosystem, so you don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it. You just need to get a Telegram token API. This is a special authorization token that will let you to connect to your Telegram API and process all the updates and requests from the Telegram API. We have to copy this Telegram token, and I also created this new library. I'm gonna push this library into GitHub repository, so you can easily find it by the link provided in the description section below. So here I'm going to create a new folder. I'm gonna call this folder, like, for example, lesson 1, and in this lesson 1 I'm going to build our project. Alright, so the first thing I have to do here is to create our index.py. Index.py is just arbitrary name where I'm going to put all my related code. The first thing we have to do is create a virtual environment that's going to be associated with our project, and there we're going to install all the necessary and corresponding dependencies to our bot project. So, alright, first of all, I'm going to open my terminal, and here I'm gonna change my directory. This is going to be lesson 1, and in this directory, as you can see, aiogram version 2, don't think about it, so just version 2, lesson 1. In this lesson 1 I'm going to initialize virtual environment. To initialize a virtual environment, if you are using Mac OS operation system, is exactly like me, you can just type here, for example, Python 3, because we're using Python 3.10 or 3.11 I guess, and here we just need to type python.3 dash module venv and the name of your virtual environment directory. For the people who don't know, who are not aware about virtual environment, I will be pretty short. I just mentioned that virtual environment is like isolated environment for all your dependencies, and these dependencies preserve and retain the exact version you specify in requirements.txt, and you can easily manage dependencies by this virtual environment. You can isolate your project from other environments, so it will prevent a lot of conflicts between different environments and between different projects. So this is pretty useful to use in professional development. So alright, let's create a new virtual environment. I'm gonna call this like .venv, and that's it. We created a new virtual environment directory. I put here a dot before our venv name because this is like a convention between different developers. So you might not put this dot, you might put this dot, it doesn't matter so much. So here, once you've created a new virtual environment directory, you need to activate this virtual environment. To do this, you just need to type here source venv bin activate if you are using Mac OS exactly like me, and this directory does not exist. Why? Let's check this. Venv, okay, alright, I completely forgot that I use .venv bin activate. Alright, so activate. I have activated our virtual environment, and here we have lib directory. This lib directory will contain side packages that's related to our specific Python project, and that's it. Let's just install here our aiogram library. Aiogram library is like a Python binding that will let you interact with the Telegram API, so you don't have to worry about underlying details, and I think you don't have to grasp all the intricacies how to properly communicate and integrate your application with Telegram API. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to be aware about all the details of Telegram API, because we already have abstracted Python library that will let us to communicate directly with Telegram API. So this is like a Python binding. This is like extremely useful library that will let you to build robust, reliable, and essentially effective code utilizing asynchronous paradigm. Alright, no more words. Let's just install this library. To install this library, I guess we have to open our documentation. We have our documentation here. For example, we have documentation in English and Ukrainian languages, and here they have installation content. And I think it's a good practice to refer to documentation along the way, along your development process, because documentation consists of a lot of useful things. So from Python package index, we just need to copy this code and paste it here in Visual Studio Code, right over here, right? So let's paste it here, and collecting aiogram, our Python package installer is going to install our dependencies that's necessary for our project. So yeah, all right, let's wait a bit. Let's wait until it completes the downloading process. Yep, and that's it. We have our aiogram and associated libraries like aiogram, asynchronous HTTP. Asynchronous HTTP is necessary for asynchronous HTTP requests, because we're going to communicate with Telegram API over HTTP protocol. So this is a very important detail. And this is just an overview tutorial. This is just introduction tutorial video. In the next video, I'm gonna show you how our communication and interaction with Telegram API is organized and which technology stack we're gonna use in our projects. So we're gonna start from scratch, and I think we'll delve into all the details along our journey. So alright, if you have any issues, you can leave them in the comment section below. If you have any suggestions about my content or anything, please feel free to share your thoughts. So once we've installed our library, all we have to do here is, I guess, start working. I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna name it like token.py. Token.py is created outside our lesson 1. I decided to do this because, and actually speaking, it's a good practice to locate our venv library, directory outside our lesson 1, because it's going to be shared across different directories like lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, and so on. On our token.py, I'm going to create, for example, some kind of token constant variable token API, or we can also use upper case token API. I'm gonna put here double quotes, and nope. Let's copy our authorization token again, put it here, and what's the problem? Blah blah blah. Overriding standard library token API. Okay, so this is a bad name for our module because it's already taken. Let's choose something like token API. And actually speaking, it's not a best practice to use shared token API.py, but for initial setup and for beginner level, I guess this is acceptable to use this kind of structure. But in the next videos, when we're gonna delve into all the intricacies in both development process, I guess I'm going to show you how to organize your project properly, how to properly utilize conventions and best practices to properly organize your project and utilize the most robust schema. So here we just need to import our aiogram library. That's the first thing we have to do, and it doesn't resolve our library. Why? It's not accessed. I'm guessing because I don't have specify here. I don't have specified. Where's my... I have too much environment. Sorry. Python venv.py, maybe this workspace. Yes, right. So everything works now. All right. In the official documentation, you can find they are using here something like this. This is logging module. I think for initial setup, you don't have to worry about this thing. Logging module is like a special tool utility that you can use to log the scenario of your code execution. You can write some kind of logs, just obviously. So alright, so I'm not going to use it in this specific project, but I'm going to show you how to properly include it in your future projects in future. So they also use here sys module, and they also utilize here operation system module to get environment variable, and this is the topic for our future projects. So in this case, we just have to, I guess we just have to import a Syncio library. Yes, I'm going to import a Syncio. This is a special library to organize asynchronous code execution within your Python projects. So asynchronous execution, I think you have to read more about asynchronous paradigm, because this concept is frequently used in a context of both development, because asynchronous paradigm will let you to build more robust and more efficient solutions for interacting with Telegram API, because it provides you non-blocking environment. So yeah, I think it's a very important topic for anyone who wants to delve into all the details and intricacies how to properly build your effective and reliable solutions, right? So alright, so I'm gonna import this four important details. The first thing is our boat class. Boat class is for creating instance of your boat. Obviously, you have to pass through authorization token here. Dispatcher class is creating dispatcher object. Dispatcher object is something like a Django dispatcher, or this is just like a main router that properly channel the requests from Telegram API and channel them, redirects them to the handler on your side. A handler is something like a processor. It takes a request from Telegram API, processes it, and generates a response. Router is like a Python router in Django or in React.js, if you are familiar with that. This is like this is like something vectors all the requests from Telegram API as well. This is like a sub-dispatcher. You might think about it like a sub-dispatcher. Types, this is just for I guess this is just a paradigm that's frequently used in TypeScript. This is like a typing module. You can use it for different types, to specify types and provide more readable and efficient and robust code. So the concept that stands behind this idea is not obvious at first glance, but still, the more you learn about both development and the more you learn about programming, the more you have the understanding about the organizing typing process. And I think get more insights how to properly use this module and how to properly use typing along your journey and development, I guess. Alright, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna show you the examples if you want. So they also use a lot of unnecessary stuff here, like markdown and types libraries. So I'm probably not going to use it here. The first thing we have to do here is just create a dispatcher class. This is a dispatcher class that will process our requests, and I'm going to create here a boat, or not. They don't use it here. Alright, so let's also import our token API. From token API, I'm gonna import token API, authorization token, and yep, probably let's specify the main function. This is the main function. This is like an entry point to our program. This entry point will execute all the handlers, all the our dispatcher, initiate our dispatcher, our routers, and everything that our program comprises of. So this function will return nothing. This is very useful feature actually. This is like a restriction of dynamic typing. In dynamic typing paradigm, you can dynamically specify any types you want, and you can assign any types you want during the execution process, but this thing will allow you to specify static typing. This is like from TypeScript, I guess. You can specify exact type that this function will return. This function will not return anything, so for this reason I'm specifying here none. And this is very important when you want to see exactly what this function had to return, to get some suggestions from your code editor, for example, or to have some insights what your code does, or this is very useful when you're working on collaborative projects. So in this case, I'm going to create here a boat instance. This is going to be an instance of our boat class. I'm going to put here token API and nothing else. You don't have to worry about it. There's all of it. So far, I'm going to create a dispatcher class, and this dispatcher class, sorry, the instance of our dispatcher class, and this instance have a special method that's called start polling. I'm going to show you what start polling is in the next videos, when I'm going to explain the detailed schema of how our project will work and how our aiogram library works under the hood. And in this start polling, we have to pass through our boat. That's our boat instance. And I guess that's it. Let's also specify here if name equals main. This is a standard idiomatic expression, if you might say so. In our Python project, we are using this kind of structure to specify that our program is executed if and only if this Python module has been executed directly from our terminal, from directly specifying exactly its name. I mean, when you specify here Python index.py, this code that placed below this if name equals main will be executed. If this module will be imported somewhere else, this part of our program will not be executed. So this is about executing the code directly when you call this module here, when we execute our module directly inside our terminal. So here we just need to invoke the method that's called run in our Essential library, and here we just need to specify our entry point. And because of this is our coroutine object, and this is like a generator in Python. This is like a generator object, so we need to invoke this specific function. We have to put here double brackets. So after this, we can start our boat and everything should work fine. Python is not found, python.free. Alright, actually I don't know what happened. I reinstalled my aiogram library, and everything works now. Alright, so maybe it happened because I moved my virtual environment directory when it was activated. Maybe because of this. I'm not really sure about it. So alright, everything works great. Why? Because our program doesn't produce any errors. Alright, so I've just opened my Telegram bot and put here start. And I don't see anything. Because my program doesn't produce any results. Why it happens? It happens because we didn't specify here any handler. The handler is just like view function in Django, if you are familiar with Django. But simply speaking, it's just like a handler. Handler is just like some kind of function that processes your results, processes your updates, processes the request from Telegram API. When some kind of user sends a message to our Telegram bot, the Telegram API produces an update object. This update object is then sent our HTTP protocol to our aiogram library, to our aiogram bot that we're implementing here. And after this, we're going to process this request, we're going to process this update, handle it, and produce any result and send it our HTTP protocol to our Telegram API, back to our Telegram API. Then users see the result, some kind of message. It can be some kind of feedback to our user. For example, let's implement a simple handler function. For this reason, you have to be familiar with simple decorators in Python. Decorator, this is like a wrapper for your function that can let you to add additional behavior during the execution frame. So dp message, this is a standard syntax from aiogram library. Here we have to specify a command that we have to process, and from our telegram and from our documentation we can see we need to import aiogram filters, and here we're gonna see the class comment start. I'm gonna copy this comment start and put it here. There is all of it, nothing else. We just have to invoke this class to create an instance and pass it through to our decorator. Here we just need to declare a function that will process our updates, and actually speaking, this processing behavior is implemented by our decorator that will wrap our function. Here I'm going to specify a synchronous function that's being called like comment start, for example, and I'm gonna pass through here a message object from message class, because here we specify explicitly that our message object should have a message type, and our function will not return anything. But actually speaking, our function will return a message, but this message is produced by our await keyword rather than return keyword, because our program is conceptually asynchronous. We're gonna put here message answer as a standard method that will let you to generate some response, text message, and here we're gonna print hello world. This is a typical message. So everything is registered, everything is ready to work, everything we just need to do is just restart our environment, python index.py. And now we're gonna put here start command again, and we see the result. We see the result hello world in response to our message start. So everything works fine. That's pretty easy, isn't it? So we just specified here a new handler that will process all the requests from Telegram API once the user types a message. And we've specified here comment start filter. Filter, it's something like a filter. Filter just filters out our requests from our Telegram API. And that's it. In this case, it filters all the messages that looks like, I guess, that satisfies start comment pattern. For example, if we write here start 1, we don't see anything. We don't see anything because it doesn't satisfy to our pattern. It doesn't go along with our pattern. So yeah, everything is pretty easy. It's a piece of cake. So yep, we don't use here routers. I guess that's it for our today's video. In the next video we're gonna delve into more intricacies about how our structure is organized, how we communicate with Telegram API, how to build more robust and more scalable web applications, sorry, not web applications, web bots, Telegram bots, using aiogram library and utilizing best practices of bot development process. We're going to use webhooks, we're going to use Docker containerization technology, we're going to use Redis storage, we're going to deploy our bots to Heroku service or just Linux distribution, I don't know. Just if you have any thoughts, if you have any insights how to improve my video tutorials, you can share them in a comment section below. Feel free to share your thoughts. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching this video. See you in the next video.